special guest in the studio this morning. It is David Park, cast member from Hamilton. Welcome, David.
Those are real people clapping right now, by the way.
Yes. Very hot and heavy here in the studio, actually. David, busy morning for you. You've just come across from another interview. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to hear that Hamilton is coming to Singapore in 2024. Can you tell us, for our listeners who are not quite aware of what Hamilton is all about, what, in your own words, is the musical about?
Forgive them. First, forgive them for not knowing, okay?
No.
Now tell them.
You know what? Just because someone doesn't know about American history that's not from America, that is not their fault. We are not the center of the universe. Anyway.
I like the disclaimer.
Anyway, Hamilton is a musical about Hamilton. This is going off to a really good start. He is one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. He helped George Washington win the Revolutionary War. He helped establish the system of government that we still use to this day. But that's not why you should come to the show. Why you should come to the show is because the music is amazing. It's a blend of hip hop, jazz, R&B, soul. Like, it's all encompassing. There is a song that you will like, I promise. And it is filled with just some of the most wonderful people I've ever worked with. Wonderful cast. We're so excited to come.
You know what? Actually, that brings me to my question. Why is Hamilton important even for audiences not attuned to American history? What can they learn?
Well, the show Hamilton uses the story of him as the vehicle to tell a story that is so much more than history or politics or even that one man. It is about, like, what is your purpose? What is your legacy? Who are you willing to, what are you willing to do for that? And what is the cost of that?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people lose a lot of stuff in the show, and it's really tragic. And you kind of get to the end, you're like, it didn't have to be like that, but it is like that. And what can we learn from that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
I must, it must be tough to tell that story because, it's not a very pretty part of the history, as you're building up to it, like you said, to have built your legacy and all that. And I think the show, with all the musical elements, has told the story, kept to the real history of it, and has portrayed and brought across that lesson and that story so well. I mean, Hamilton, it's won 11 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Why do you think Hamilton has enjoyed so much success on Broadway? Because you're in it. No. I say him.
Apart from
I
that.
say from him, so it's not like he's praising himself.
Apart from that one reason, what are the other 9?
Oh, you guys are funny. I like this. I can only speak on why I love the show and why I was so moved by the show. And I think it's pretty, there are a lot of reasons why a lot of different people can love it. But I think for me, the music first and foremost, but also just the way that the story is told. And I think we have to remember it, like, even though Hamilton is still extremely popular, when the show first came out in the States, there had never been anything close to that before. There was here's this black man playing George Washington. Here's this black man playing Aaron Burr. Like this guy from the Dominican playing Alexander. Like, it's all these different things. And we were like, wait, you can do this? And you can rap in a musical? Yeah. It was so revolutionary for that. And I think for me, when I watched it, I was still a student in musical theater school. And I was watching that saying, oh, I can do this. And this was actually tailor-made for me as a kid who grew up in Los Angeles, loving hip-hop, loving R&B, loving, like, that kind of music. That's how I grew up, learning how to form my identity as an Asian American, like, not really knowing who I was supposed to look up to in the States because there aren't a lot of, like, prominent Asian figures in media. There are more now, for sure. I don't want to take that away. But when I was, 20 years ago, like, that wasn't there for me. So to see that was really inspiring. And I think a lot of people resonate with that.
So that's actually quite central to the musical, the fact that it actually did cast, non-white actors and actresses, so that, the modern day American can actually put themselves in the story.
Exactly.
Wow, it's so deep already.
It's really layered, yeah.
Wow, we're chatting with David Park, cast member from Hamilton. We are live on Facebook. Join us there, facebook.com/913. Send us your questions as well. Anything you want to ask David, how tall he is, what he likes for breakfast. I don't...
You can ask me that.
Okay, cool. Join us on Facebook. Back with more David in just a bit. Find out about Hamilton. Ask us questions.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We just came off talking to David about Hamilton and, how he now can see through the casting and everything, just like about America Now on stage. And actually, that's exactly what Lin-Manuel Miranda actually described Hamilton as. America then as told by America Now. And I think that's really, really powerful there. I need to ask this. So you caught it when you were still a student, a theater student. Mm-hmm. It must be surreal. Or did you chase to be part of the cast of Hamilton?
We're doing this story now.
I need to know. I mean, I think for Kara and I, like, we have always wanted to, like, be on radio, be DJs. And when we're finally in that role, it's quite surreal, actually, So is that the same for you?
Yeah, actually. And I actually have a question back for you.
Okay.
When you find your moments where you're, like, doing a job and all of a sudden you kind of, like, wake up and you're like, oh, I'm like here right now. That feeling of presence.
Yeah.
Is it what you imagined?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, sometimes it is. It's like, hey, this was my dream. This is what I've always wanted to do. And then you're just caught in this glimmer moment, this moment of euphoria, a state of flow where everything's aligned and you're like, I was born for this. I was made for this.
Yeah.
And it's priceless.
Yes. I find myself smiling to myself. And then if there's someone else in the studio, they think I'm mad. Because I'm just like,
happens anyway, but
and it's so important to give yourself that moment of like, because there are days where like work is work and that's okay, and we're human and life is like that. But in that similar way, like there will be times where even today, I've been doing the show since 2021, and I will like be up there standing on the side, not even doing like one of my scenes, and I'll be like, I'm on this stage because when I watched the show. So I was a student in school. I won the lottery for $10, and I sat in the very, very front row. And when I won the lottery, I didn't even expect to win. So I didn't have $10 cash on me. I had to borrow it from a stranger. I said, "Hey, if you let me borrow $10, I'll take you tonight, and we'll just watch the show together." So I just sat next to a stranger, and I sat there like a child in awe. Like I can't even describe to you how I felt that night. But I walked away, and I went home, and I literally like got on my knees and I said, I'm going to be in that show someday, and I don't know how or why, but like how I know, but I knew.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I had a vision of like
chills.
Yeah. So
you manifested the moment
exactly
into reality.
And it took 3 years of auditions. I have auditioned for Hamilton for 3 to 4 years from 2017 till early 2020. And I got the job right before the pandemic.
Did you have to learn how to rap, or could you already rap?
Baby, I've been rapping since I was...
That's what our producer Joel wanted to know, because there's a lot of rapping in the musical. And was it challenging,
It is challenging. Actually, like, I've learned a lot about rapping through learning how to do the show consistently day in and day out. Like, I grew up loving hip-hop. Like, hip-hop is my absolute favorite form of music. But, to be technically proficient at it is different, and no one teaches that. There's no
rap coach.
There might be like a rap section of theater training now because of how prevalent it's becoming.
Yeah,
but it's a different placement than singing, but it's similar. And the fact that in this show you have to go between singing and rapping instantaneously, that's like no one can teach you that. You just have to figure it out, kind of.
Have you found yourself tripping over your tongue?
Oh, all the time, all the time.
During a show?
My first week in the show, like back in 2021, like literally my 5th show, I forgot the lyrics. And I just stood there, and it was the worst feeling ever.
Oh no! What happens when that?
You just got to figure it. Like you're like paddling, and you find any kind of anchor and you go through with it. But that's why live theater.
History.
That's why live theater is the best. Like not because you might see someone mess up, but because
you're in the moment.
You're in the moment.
Yeah.
Like that's real life. That's a human being right there. Like maybe they have an upset stomach because they didn't eat a good lunch or something. But that's real.
Awesome. We're going to head back live on air right now. We're still chatting with our Facebook audience as well. So hang tight. More of your questions for David Park in just a bit.
With You'll Never Stop Me Loving You, and our guest today, David Park, really getting into that track. I'm guessing you do like our music. It is approved
I love it.
by David. You know what I was just thinking? Oh my goodness, we used to think, all the those who are in theater, we call them triple threats, right? Acting, singing, and dancing. Now it's quadruple threat.
What's the 4th one?
rapping, right? Because of Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, tall order, man, to the cast as part of Hamilton.
I mean, props to you for actually, you said, David, that you already knew how to rap, but once you joined the cast of Hamilton, you kind of had to take it to a whole nother level because you're trying to switch from rapping to singing like instantaneously. And of course, there are moments when you have a brain fart, you upset tummy, and it's it's in that moment that you're in front of like your audience and I'm like, okay, we still got to trudge along, you know? How do you overcome that moment?
You rely on the people on stage with you. You rely on the team because it's not, you know, you just kind of figure it out, honestly. But like, you're not alone. I think like once you realize that, you just kind of like reach for the closest life jacket and you just keep chugging along because the show is going to keep moving.
Yeah. And it's a high energy show. It's fast paced. Oh my goodness. You blink and you miss certain things.
Correct.
I do feel. There are also actors who are double cast in the musical. Like you play the Marquis and you're also Thomas Jefferson. Why is that? Why have they decided to do that?
So he's talked about this in the past, but every person, so you know how in the opening number, there's like, at the end, it's like, we fought with him, me. I died for him, me. I loved him. All the people that play double roles, that one line is a thesis statement for both roles. So Marquis de Lafayette fought with Hamilton, helped win the Revolutionary War. Thomas Jefferson fought with Hamilton, opposed him. So it's like playing two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a really brilliant way to expand the world that he was building because obviously he covered a long lifespan of a person. So there's going to be different people. So it's really ingenious that he found someone that was a big figure in the early part of his like rise in the Revolutionary War and someone in the government that like he could find someone to like play both parts and it makes sense. Like, and it's cool because the things that you build in Act 1, like the things that I build with Hamilton in Act 1 as Marquis de Lafayette, you know, obviously I'm a different character in Act 2, but people saw me do that part for an hour, 15 minutes beforehand. So that's in there somewhere as they're watching it. It alters their perception. So all of it matters, even though I'm playing a different character.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's heartbreaking to see that someone that could have gotten along with this man is so opposed to him. And that Alex at that point is so hell-bent on like making his vision come true, that I'm gonna cut down anyone in my way. And it's like, you didn't used to be like that. You used to be a little more open maybe. So it's all of that adds layers to watching the show that aren't even necessarily spoken on or like shown on stage, but like you feel that as you're watching it as an audience member.
Awesome.
So how is it for you? I mean, you're doing that whole double role thing, right? Act 1 versus Act 2. I mean, what are the challenges involved in that? Because you have to swap so quickly, right?
Yeah, the challenges are that it feels like at the top of Act 2, I'm starting a brand new show. And, you know I just talked about how Act 1 matters, and it does, but Act 2, I come out and I have to be like, within 7 minutes, I have to be like, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is why I'm in the story, and this is why you're going to care about me for the next hour. And to this day, I get a rush of anxiety before I start Act 2. I don't think I'll ever not have that. It's because this is the part that when I watch the show, of course, like Hamilton, I was like, I mean, that would be amazing to play someday. But I was trying to be like a little realistic. But I saw Daveed Diggs play Lafayette Jefferson. I was like, that's the part because it can there are elements of it that are really easy for me to access and like a true representation of who I am. Like I'm pretty silly in the show, guys. I will make you laugh, I promise.
Awesome. I love silly. You know what? This is the first time that Hamilton is actually going to be in Singapore, playing in Singapore.
I've
with
heard.
the third city in their international tour.
That's us.
We're so excited to welcome the cast. Tell us, what can people look forward to in Hamilton?
So I think people can look forward to just an amazing... this is the first time that we have people from 3 different countries coming together to tell the same story that we've all told in different not versions, but like, you know, with theater, the people that any group thing, actually, the people that come together, like if one of you were different people, it would be a different show, right?
Of course.
So in the same way, like if my show that I did in the States with my cast is different than the one here, and that's not a better or worse thing. It's just like, that's the beauty of what we do, is like we bring different people together and we tell the story.
Yeah.
And whatever I grew up listening to, experiencing all of that affects how I, relate this character.
And I think that's really wonderful. You're talking about, different people coming together with their own experiences. They're really bringing something new to the table, even for you. I mean, you've been with the show for, 3 years
Almost
now?
coming up on 3 years,
so
yeah.
kind of like a whole new take for you.
Exactly.
Every different cast you work with.
Exactly.
That's
like
wonderful.
Jason has brought out so many different things in me, and like the Sons of Liberty, Shaka and Jacob, who are amazing, by the way. And Jacob's been on Broadway. Like Jacob's been all over. But they all bring out different things, and it's just so fun and refreshing. But yeah, people should come because we're an international company, not because we're touring internationally, but because we are brought together internationally. We are like the Avengers of Hamilton.
I love that. that.
So it's just like, you have to be there.
Yeah, I love what you said at the beginning. Even though we might not relate to American history, there's something for everyone, because you're looking, and it's about life choices. It's about standing up for what you believe in, yes or no, why.
Right.
Relearning some of your convictions, perhaps as well. There's so much to learn from the musical, and I can't wait to see it in April next year.
Yay.
At the Sands Theatre. We're so glad you're part of this cast, David.
Yeah, and definitely the wait list for tickets, okay, guys, is going to commence real shortly at 10 a.m. today. You want to get on that wait list, because I guarantee you these tickets are going to go fast. So today, watch out. Head on over to baseasia.com/HamiltonSG.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David Park.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we can't wait to catch you in action. Take care.
Good time. Greatest hits. 1FM 91.